So Christian, we got you here. We're gonna rock and roll. So I just want to confirm we have some information here. We have Christian here. You sold 83 policies in your first 8 weeks, and you've never missed a sale. You sold $76,000 of premium, but ultimately the reason that you're here, Christian, I think is going to be helpful is talking about how you built consistency. So walk me through. How many days have you gone in a row with making a sale?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. From the beginning of this, it was 45 work days in a row. So it came out to 8 weeks total of every single day not blanking, which really was my goal coming into this. Like I just didn't want to blank on the board. I wanted to keep it consistent, keep it going. So yeah, just 8 weeks total. That's 45 days of at least one sale. So of course, in those days, I had some two, three. I had a 6-piece one day. So just, yeah, at least one sale for 8 weeks total.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're going to dive into that. I'm going to kind of ask you, how did you build that consistency? But before we get started, I just want you to share with the audience kind of like, where were you at prior? You don't feel comfortable, you don't have to give the name, but what company were you working with? What was their targets, and what was your production like on a typical weekly basis? Like, what were you shooting for?
Yeah, good question. So prior to coming into your agency, I was doing door-to-door sales primarily. It was mainly door-to-door sales, working off referrals and stuff like that, face-to-face. So it wasn't over the phone or anything like that. So it was a little harder to get the clients. They were pushing us to get, I think it was $75 of premium per week. And so, looking back at it now, it's like laughable. $75 is really nothing per week, especially getting sales now. And so, coming into this, I didn't really know it was possible to get more than that. I didn't really have a huge background. I was doing life insurance for, I think, 3-4 months with that company, doing door to door, just going around serving my clients. I was having to pick up payments like old school, picking up payments door to door, coming around being like, I'm your insurance guy. They'd give me cash or like a money order or something. And that went well. And then I realized there was like kind of a cap, going door to door in person, kind of a cap. And so I'm really just looking for something online now with this opportunity. Things are changed for sure.
So your average premium was like, you do 900 annual premium in a week. That's 75 times 12. What are you shooting for? Like, what is your average that you're hitting consistently every single week instead of our agency?
Yeah, in this agency, I'd say it's on average probably about 10,000 AP a week is what you want to shoot for. That's around 10 sales. At minimum 8,000. So I'd say anywhere from 8 to 15 is what I've been hitting. Some weeks, I've gotten up to that 15 point. Some weeks I've only gotten 8, but I really try to shoot for 10,000 per week. So just a crazy change.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of growth there. When it comes to like the big thing that I think that a lot of people want to learn from you, and even I want to take some notes on, is your consistency. Over 45 working days, you've sold a policy. What do you think like the number one thing has allowed you like to build that consistency where you can come on every day and know that you're going to make some sales? What is like one thing that you focus on?
Yeah. Coming into it, like I said, I was new to, the phone game and stuff like that, calling people, telesales. So I think immediately it's all about the grind, the time and the reps you put in, really just blocking everything else out. Coming into this, I'm so focused. Even now, I'm still so focused. I'm buying in with all my time, inside and outside of work. So like when I'm sitting down at the desk, I'm fully focused, laser focused, making my dials, getting out there as much as possible. And then even outside of work, just studying, asking questions, making it a job to make the dials, put in the work. It's just all about the time you put in. I feel like that was the main thing that got me that consistency.
So you're basically just grinding it out, which is kind of like what everyone talks about, to be really, really successful in the beginning. When it comes to your struggles in the beginning, because you didn't, initially you had to learn a whole different system. You had to get like plugged in. What was one of the things that you struggle with that a lot of new agents might struggle with?
New agents
in the beginning.
Yeah, definitely in the beginning, you have to get used to telephone sales. So especially if you're not used to telephone sales, you got to get used to talking on the phone to these people. The art of like building a connection over the phone is a lot different than building a connection in person. All they hear is your voice, and they can be on the couch watching TV, and boom, click, and you're done. The art of rejection um, is big with this one. You got to get used to rejection,
Hmm.
but I think it's just learning how to communicate with people over the phone, and building trust over the phone. Um, the script, you learn the script in the beginning. So the script, you have to get that down. Once you get the script down and you kind of know, the foundation of telephone sales, then you start getting into tone. And when you get into tone, you can start kind of, Miss Betty, oh, how did this go? Stuff like that. And you can really use your voice to get her to kind of open up.
Yeah.
So I would say it's all about just learning the tone. Mastering the script, and then tone is so important because you're not going to know how to sell over the phone unless you have the right tone. And so, yeah, that's what I would say.
How did you? So the big thing first was your script adherence. How did you learn the script? Because it's a lot to take in. Let's say you're just getting started at a company. How would you teach someone to learn the script really, really fast so that they can start focusing on other things that are other important as well in the sales process?
Yeah, no, that's super easy. Just listen to yourself. Listen to other agents that are already doing good. There's a scoreboard. You can see how good everybody's doing. You go to the top guy, and they're using the same script as I was given. And
Uh-huh.
so listening to them, not only listening to them, but also having it in my hand, and reading it as they're going. Thinking to myself, okay, when they say something that I wouldn't have said, pause it. Why did they say that? Um, start understanding like the psychology of where they were coming at with what angle. Um, and yeah, that comes back to just putting in the work, putting in the time, listening, making it like a point to study the script. I was sitting in my room just going over the script alone for those first few weeks,
Mm.
literally just saying it out loud like a crazy man, just trying to get it in my brain so that way, if something does come up, you know, I'm not going to be like flustered or anything. I'm going to know what to say, how to say it, because I've heard Brian, I've heard Blaze, I've heard Isaiah say it hundreds of times. And so um, I'd say just it goes back to just putting in the reps. You're not going to learn it without ingraining it in your brain. Like you have to just do it over and over and over to learn that script, I'd say.
So the script part. So then when you get the script down, when it comes to like tonality,
Yep.
because now that you have the script, what are some things that you learned about having the right tonality that has allowed you to understand how to build the connection to make the client feel
Yeah.
comfortable with you to get that consistently? What have you learned about like the how to control your tonality to build that?
Yeah. Control and tonality is definitely the number one thing that you have to master. Um, how did I do it? I would say learning the script. You can learn the script and be a robot and get some sales. But once you start learning the tonality of it and thinking of it from the client's perspective. So
Hmm.
when you're in there, when you're going through the script, and let's say you're listening to yourself and you're reading it back, you pause it and you think yourself, okay, from the client's perspective, it's psychology. So the client's perspective, they want they want you to be a certain way. You want to act a certain way. You want to come off as their friend. You want to sit next to them and throw dartboards at the dartboard with them, if that makes sense. You want to be on their side. And so the tone, I would say, is more of like a friendly tone. It changes throughout the entire script, but really learning from, okay, in the beginning of the script, I'm gonna as Isaiah says, I'm gonna have my hat in my hand, like I just showed up, knocked on somebody's door, have my hat in my hand, be real gentle, soft spoken. But as you go through that intro, eventually you're going to have to be their doctor, and you're going to have to share with them. You're going to have to ask them medical questions and really gain their respect. So that meek, gentle guy is eventually going to have to turn into someone who's serious and asking, "Hey, are you on a Carvedilol? Are you taking furosemide? You know your stuff." So going into the meek, gentle part, learning how to transition into the doctor, and then once you're in the doctor, eventually you're going to have to ask them questions like, you're going to have to kind of sound confused. And so learning how to transition between different tones was, I think, really a big part, because if you go from their doctor, you know everything, you know what they're about to say before they even say it, and they know you know what they're about to say before they say it. Then if you start asking questions like, oh, why do you really need the insurance? then they're going to call your bluff. They're going to know, oh, this guy's a step ahead of me. He's going to outsmart me. Like, they don't want that. So you kind of have to transition it from a, like, like a serious tone of a doctor and find a way to try to transition that into a curious, really like, okay, so now I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from. And they have to buy into that. It can't be fake. And
Yeah.
so, with that tone, you don't want to have it sound fake. Just learning those transitions, and how you learn those transitions, just to listen to yourself, pause it, think, okay, I did this wrong. Obviously I did this wrong. I'm not going to sulk in doing that wrong. I'm going to think, how can I change it for next time? And then just constantly making it better, improving, on the psychological part of shifting your tone.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, that's what I would say is important when it comes
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
tone.
Yeah, the tonality, that makes the script, and that's something that you have to learn through reps and trial and error. You'll get some feedback. You're like, maybe I shouldn't have said that way, and then you got to adapt your tonality. When it comes to when you're kind of going through that, you are an in-home agent. Knowing what you know about in-home versus telesales, if you were starting over, would you want right into telesales, or are you glad that you started the in-home sales?
Ooh, telesales is where it's at. I mean, you can just grow so much more telesales. I'm not saying that in-home is dead. You can
Mm-hmm.
definitely, if you set up your appointments right, you can go door to door and you could get 4 or 5 sales in a day. Especially with in-home, it's easier to build that connection. You're probably going to have a higher closing rate. If you're not good with rejection, don't go into telesales, but also don't go into at-home door-to-door sales, because you're going to get rejected too.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at it back, I liked the route I went, going door to door, learning it a little bit, and then getting into telephone sales. But if I had to do it all over again, no, I'd probably just go straight into telesales. Just
Yeah.
learning the art of selling over the phone. Yeah, it's just more
Yeah.
efficient.
Absolutely. Yeah. When it comes to like rejection, how do you like handle that? So like a new agent could get in the industry, they could be great on the phones, but they don't know how to handle like the disappointment of rejection. What's
Right.
like a message or reminder that you have for yourself, or that you would tell someone, here's how you handle with rejection.
Yeah, just put your feelings aside. At the end of the day, there's always a reason that something happens. And so if you got all the way to the end and then you gave Miss Betty the numbers and she decides to hang up on you, you can't just sulk in your, oh my goodness, this is so hard, I just got rejected again. No, dude, don't do that. Get out of that mindset. Go listen to the call. Download the call. As you start dialing again, download the call, listen to that call, and find out why she hung up whenever you told her that $10,000 was going to be $80 a month. Why did she not like that? Oh, it's because in the discovery, whenever I asked her the question of who is it going to be, we just kind of glazed over that it's going to be putting her daughter into a position where she has to come out of pocket for that money. We just kind of glazed over it, and I was just like, oh, okay, sounds like to me as a mother, you don't want that to happen. Cool. Anyways, have you been looking around for a while now?
Mm-hmm.
And so next time going into it, okay, if I glaze over this part, I'm going to get hung up on numbers, and that's a 20-25 minute phone call that I just wasted. So don't be stuck on getting rejected. Rejection is going to come, but find out why they rejected you, and then change that for the next client. Rejection is always going to be there though, so don't get caught up on it. Just find out why, and if it is because maybe they're just not very happy and it's just not a good day, then so be it. That's just what it is, and go on to the next. Just
Yeah.
goldfish mindset. Just keep going. Just keep going.
Pushing through. It's
Yeah.
like kind of like you being able to adapt quickly. Like, here's what happens, learn from it, and then changing your behavior to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Exactly.
Which is awesome. One thing I wanted to talk about is getting back to that consistency that you built. When it comes to like building that consistency when it comes to like metrics that you track, KPIs when it comes to dials, talk time, when it comes to presentations, what does that look like for you? And like, how do you control those, or what are you shooting for on a basis daily so that you can at least sell one policy?
Yeah. It starts with the dials. So it's kind of like a trickle down effect. It starts with the dials. You have to have your high dials. You have to have a lot of dials. So, coming into this, they said they want, or you told us,
Yeah.
make at least 250 dials a day.
Mhm.
As a new agent, that wasn't super hard. You can make 250 dials every single day. So then it's like, why not just make 350 dials a day? 400 dials a day. So focus on the dials. But while you're in the dials, don't just see it as a number. Don't just see it as, okay, I need to hit 250 dials. No. Back up. When you get those 250 dials, you want to shoot for contacts now. Once you get a contact, you want to shoot for them to go to a presentation. So Don't just get stuck on the dials. Okay, I need to get 250 dials, 250 dials. No, when they do answer, expect for them to answer every single time they're dialing. Expect for
Mhm.
them to answer. And when they do answer, then you're kind of excited. You already know what to say. You're already sitting there with your hand in your hat asking them, hey, I know she filled out, whatever. Looking and interested in some guaranteed whole life insurance, whatever it may be. Get them past that minute mark. Okay, make sure they have some time. Then from there, I think the most important metric that we track is going to be the presentations.
Okay.
Simply because without 5 presentations, there's no way to make 5 sales.
Mhm.
Um, if you have 2 presentations, if you give the numbers to 2 people, the maximum people to say yes is going to be 2 people. And
Mhm.
so, you might have 400 dials, but if you have 2 presentations, you need to keep going. You have to get 5 presentations, because if you have 5 presentations, that gives you the possibility to make 2, 3, 4 sales a day. So I would say just focus on dials. It starts with dials.
Mhm.
Eventually, you get to the contacts where people are, saying yes. Try to push them past the, oh, now's not a good time. And then eventually just try to present numbers to as many people as possible. The more numbers you present to people, the better chances you have of selling them. It's direct correlation, I'd say.
Absolutely. So the dials presentations, pretty generic stuff, but it sounds like that's always your focus is making sure that you
Yeah.
have those non-negotiables hit every single day. When it comes to like, what do you do on days where you have a major sale yet and you're getting closer to the end of the day? Like, how have you been able to always find a way to make a sale when it comes to like, man, some days you're selling 5 a day and some days you're just selling like one and you just scrape that one. How do you typically find that sale on those slow days to always make sure that you are being consistent?
Yeah. um, Coming into this, you stress the importance of us, keeping track of those clients that almost said yes.
Mhm.
Those clients that just need to talk to their husband or wife, and you couldn't find a way to get them to say yes right there. You couldn't push out the payment. You couldn't do anything like that. They need to talk to their husband. They need to talk to their wife. That's where the hit list comes into play. And I think a lot of people are not taking advantage of this hit list. It's literally just a document that I have opened all day.
Mhm.
If it's getting slow, all I have to do is copy a number, put it into the system, call the number. When I call the number, let's say last time we spoke and they said, oh, I really like these numbers with this company, but I want to talk to my husband about it. But I also have that they take furosemide, carvedilol, torvastatin, all these medications. I'm going to punch in all of their medications into this document. I punch in the quotes that I gave them, the company that they should go with, and why they didn't go right, last time I spoke to them.
Okay.
That way, once it's slow, if it's a slow day, get them on the phone. If they answer, boom, that's step one. If these people answer, it's usually a sale, because they've already gotten so close. And it's usually either a quick yes or a quick no. It's going to be, no, I've talked about it and we're going with something else. Or I have talked about it and I don't need to do this. Or it's going to be, yeah, I'm glad you called. I've actually been looking to get you on the phone. And so
Wow.
it's like there's no point of not hitting your hit list. It's so either yes or no. If you can get them on the phone, it makes it all worth it. One sale from the hit list makes all the time of me copy pasting, writing out the situation,
Mhm.
makes it all worth it. And just scrolling through it right now, like, so many of these are green because they've converted into a sale.
Really?
I didn't even realize how many, like, just looking at it right now, I didn't realize how many of these are green just from me just going back, asking them, hey, following up, not saying, hey, I'm following up with you now,
Mm.
but phrasing it in the right way, and they just come back, and yeah, um yeah, it's that hit list. That hit list. You got to stay on top of the hit list, because those are
That's
easy
awesome.
sales.
How do you call a hit list? Because like the following up, you're obviously not going to do that. But
Yep.
yeah. So when it's slow and you could end the day with zero, your hit list saves you. But how would you
Oh yeah.
teach someone to follow up or call their hit list to kind of like get them across the finish line? What does your process look like?
Yeah, I think the hit list call is not very script oriented. You've already been through the script, especially if you've already given them numbers, or if y'all stopped at wherever y'all stopped. Either just carry on part of the script, or what I like to do is just call them as, all of our clients are going to be older people. So call them as, I'm calling my grandpa, my grandma,
Hmm.
and just having a conversation with them about it. Like, hey, last time you told me this. Like, hey, this is Christian. Do you remember me? Like, you remember me, right? Of course. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I remember you. Okay, perfect. Last time we spoke, I'll kind of update you on the notes I put. It was really important to you. Stress the discovery part. Hey, you didn't want to leave your daughter in that bind. The only thing holding you back was you wanted to this, that, and the other. You wanted to make sure that it was okay with this. You want to make sure you had the funds in. I'm just calling back to make sure, like, did you go over it with Johnny, your husband, or, are you ready to make that decision? We have all these, just like a normal conversation, getting them up on. It really just depends from situation to situation, of course. But yeah, just having a normal conversation with them, asking them, getting a better understanding of the idea. Like, hey, you told me this last time. What's the deal now? I'm just checking up on you. Show them that you care. I think a lot of times people buy, especially in smaller expense life insurance agencies or like sales,
Yeah,
they're going to buy personality. They're not really going to buy the policy itself.
absolutely.
And so if you can get them to like your personality, and how you do that is think about it from their perspective. So if I like somebody, it's because I like them, but that doesn't matter. What do they like? What are they looking for? Miss Betty's looking for something, and you have to find out what she's looking for
Yeah,
personality wise, and you kind of adjust your personality, if you would say, to get her to kind of like you and showing up, getting a policy with you,
yeah. There's especially if they have a need. Absolutely. When it
Yeah.
comes to like any lessons that you would share, that have helped you, I'd love to just open up the floor. Like anything that you've done that's really helped you get consistent, that's allow you to have that. Anything else that you'd want to kind of elaborate or helping a new agent who's struggling right now? Any advice that you'd give them?
Yeah, just keep pushing. If you didn't make a sale one day, try to find out why. It's all about boiling down the why. And I think what I did was really boil down the why. If it really was because she did not want to be on the phone right now, that's why. But a lot of the times it was because of me. And you have to, as an agent, you have to look at it from, okay, I didn't get the sale. I did something wrong. What was it that I did wrong?
Mm,
You can't say to yourself, oh, it was so close. I had really good presentations today and I did so good on the phones. It's just they just didn't want to say yes, this, that, and the other. No. I can come back and say, okay, I didn't get any sales either. Like, like you can have all the presentations in the world and I did so good, but if you didn't get any sales, it's because you probably did something wrong. So just boil it down. Like, listen to yourself. I think listening back on those calls is really important, because then you can really boil down where you went wrong and not make the same mistake twice.
mm,
If you can find out why you messed up and not ever make that mistake again, consciously think about it so much that eventually it becomes in your subconscious and you don't even have to think about it, then that's where you start improving fast, I believe. It's like in baseball, you can swing all day long and eventually you'll be able to hit the ball. But until you like kind of film yourself and watch it slow motion and see your elbow not going down right, or opening up wrong, you're not going to notice it until you really dial in on it and analyze yourself. So I would say just listen to yourself back. It's weird, but it's what you have to do. You're selling life insurance on the phone. You gotta just listen to yourself back. Be hard on yourself. Tell yourself, oh, I did this wrong. That was not right. I'm gonna make a note in the script on that part so that I never do that ever again. And if you do make
self-correct.
the same mistake again, just fix it again. It's be hard on yourself, but be easy on yourself because of
Absolutely.
the high rejection, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
but I love that you just continue to self-correct to get better. I love how you had that
Yeah.
accountability. I think that makes you great. You're always accountable for what the result is. A lot of people will blame systems, leads, and any of the
Yeah.
resources, but you always just find a way to just make it happen. When it comes to like mentorship, when you first got started as a new agent, did you find like that you had really good support in the beginning, or was it kind of tough, or did you have to kind of figure it all out yourself?
Oh no. Um, well, beginning of life insurance, whenever I was on my own, it was all on
Yeah.
my own. So it was figured out. Not with this agency. Ever since joining Legacy Family Life, it is an insane amount of support.
Mm,
Not only am I listening, like as a new agent, I remember Brian would listen to a call of mine, um, and he just told me, hey, I noticed you did this, you should probably try this. And it's like that type of stuff. The support in Legacy Family Life is unmatched, like any other agency, at least I've been to. And also the people on the team, they say the exact same thing as I do.
sure.
There's just so many people trying to help you, trying to help each other win, because Peter, you've built a culture of people not getting like mad that other people are making sales, or like jealous, or like like, oh, he's doing it, why am I not doing it? Yeah. No, I've seen it firsthand. People on my team are like, yo, Andy sold 3 policies today. Travis sold 2 policies today. It's possible. Like
Mhm.
we can do this. It's possible. It's not like, oh, he's doing that or I'm mad. No, it's possible. Let's figure this out. Like, how are they doing it? Let's listen to that call. What did they do? Dissect it there. So um yeah, the support in Legacy Family Life is unmatched. You really can't find it anywhere else, I'd say.
I love
At least
that.
I haven't.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
send Mondo to Alaska hashtag. But in
Yeah,
regards
yeah, yeah.
in regards to like that's really what we take pride in, our culture from the team. But anything else that you'd like to share that's helped you in your journey, or anything that you would, tell your older self that could really just hopefully have someone else have a breakthrough in their journey? I don't know if anything else comes to mind.
Yeah. No, yeah, just stick with it. I think with hard work, anything can happen.
Hmm.
Um, so just work
What was
hard,
it? Sorry, what was it like? What was the emotions and feelings that you had when you first were struggling? Like, what were you going through in your life then?
Yeah, no, it was rough. I've been in some pretty rough patches. Um, just we don't get into the super details and stuff like that, but um Peter knows. But how do we phrase this here? Yeah, no, there's been some rough times where the paychecks aren't right. The other company I was working with, just $1,000 a month in annual premium is just not going to cut it.
Mm,
The base pay was not what I was wanting. I was living way above my means, going into massive amounts of credit card debt. I've been at a point where I literally was using credit cards to pay for minimum payments on another credit card month after month, maxing out all 8 credit cards. um, but really just, first off, having the Lord there with you. Jesus is always on your side. He's always going to be there for you. The moment you start asking for him to make things happen is the moment things are going to change in your life. That's really what it comes down to. And the moment you put your ego aside and say, okay, I can't control any situation, you please, Lord, control the situation at hand. That's when things are really going to start to change. That's the ultimate
I love
way
that.
of getting through, the struggles. But also on yourself, just having that, everything's okay. Keep it cool, keep it calm, keep it collected.
Figured out.
Try to come out with a plan. Try to write down a plan, and start figuring this out because you're all right. There's
Yeah,
people have been in much worse ruts before.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah,
so
man, I appreciate you sharing. That's all I really had for you. I don't know if anything else you want to add, but dude, thanks for sharing your story, kind of like what you focused on, what
yeah,
you've gone through, how you stay consistent. I think it's brought a lot of value to the team. And
yeah,
ultimately, if y'all like this video, feel free to reach out to Christian. How can you help them, Christian? Where do they hit you up at?
yeah. I mean, I got a Instagram. I used to do YouTube back in the day a little bit, but we'll just stick to Instagram for now. It's just Christian Ray Smith on Instagram.
See
Full
Race.
Christian Ray Smith. Yeah, that's where you find me. But if you want the real sauce, just keep watching this guy's videos. I mean, he'll give you the sauce. He told us coming in here now, spill everything, try to give as much value as possible. So just keep
Sure.
watching Peter's videos, um, and yeah, you'll definitely find a way. You'll definitely find a way.
Absolutely. Well, pause here.